Well, good morning. Good morning, everyone. Today is the 6th day of January. Time is 9 o'clock. The board is in session to conduct this weekly open business meeting. All three commissioners are present. We also have with us
Brad Smith, Assessor's Office.
Kathleen Ireland, Assessor's Office.
Bob Carney, Operations.
John Blake, paramedics.
real IT guy. We have over here the blue shirt.
Trent Triple County Clerk, sorry.
Okay.
Richard Bank Development Services.
Law Treasurer.
All right, thank you. Welcome to the meeting. Madam Clerk, do we have any changes to the agenda?
We do.
Okay, I'll accept the motion.
I move to remove the two tax cancellations on item 6B, number 38 and 39. And I think when we get to that point, the assessor's office will explain why.
I'll second that.
Okay, you've heard the motion to remove item 38 and 39 from the property tax roll for discussion. Okay, all in favor of the motion? Is there further discussion? We'll get to discussion when we get there. We're gonna remove it from the agenda right now, if we get the votes. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Okay, we have some unfinished business to conduct, and this would require a motion to remove the unfinished business from the table.
I motion to move the unfinished business from the table for consideration.
I second the motion.
Okay, you've heard the motion. Is there any further discussion? Okay, hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Go ahead.
Yes, good morning, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners. This unfinished business item is related to a zoning application you considered at your December 10th public hearing. If you recall, this was a 38-acre site on the south side of Cunamora Road, I believe just east of Vista Road out there, where the applicant had secured approval in 2024 of 2 contractors' yards, and they had come back this year to request that you modify a condition that limited vehicles on the northern contractor yard to only 50. They asked that you modify it to allow them to have 280. At the public hearing, you took testimony, you closed the public hearing, and tabled today to secure additional advice on potentially what conditions you might be able to add to this request to modify a condition. And if you received the advice that you were looking for, you now have the opportunity to continue your deliberations to make a decision. I will remind you that the supporting documentation that was submitted at the hearing supported approval as proposed by the applicant. So you still have those documents available, but if you do make a decision to add conditions or to deny the request, we would ask that you table this matter again to the January 20th open business meeting to give staff some additional time to update documents.
Okay. Well, the application is in front of the board. What's the wishes of the board?
Well, Mr. Chairman, I guess after the public comment and hearing the testimony, my personal feeling is they didn't substantiate the need based on their current usage that they're using now. And that they're not even getting to the 50 that they have approved. They didn't substantiate need for any additional input being there. And the neighbors also testified that they had major concerns over the way they had configured what they're doing now. So I'm inclined to not support the application. So I guess depending on what the other two of you feel, we would table it until January 20th, and I will make that motion if the two of you concur.
Any other discussion?
Well, Mr. Chair, I think they did demonstrate some need to increase their capacity to actually make this economically viable. I don't know if I was all the way at the 280 that they were asking for, but maybe Richard, can you kind of refresh us on what, I think we were looking at some potentially other conditions, or maybe just kind of summarize the discussion we had while we were debating it, because I think if I recall, there were some issues, again, always with the light and the noise and that, but what were some of the other concerns that were brought up?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, Commissioner Davison, the one that I do recall is there was some discussion that the board had regarding requiring a condition for additional screening for one of the property owners that was the closest to the use. That's what I recall off the top of my head.
Because there was one property, like a homeowner, that's sort of surrounded by
That's correct.
the proposed contractor's yard, and as I recall, her concern was being able to see it, which you're never going to totally eliminate if you have a two-story house, because you can look out the back window. But I recall we did have some discussion about, like you say, screening fence. I think they did a berm, but they just didn't feel it was sufficient, or the homeowners didn't feel it was sufficient. Is that your recollection?
That is correct.
And then again, after their testimony, I could see that it's gonna be hard to financially make this successful without some additional capacity, but I don't know if they did justify the full amount.
Mr. Chairman?
Yeah.
As I
Go ahead.
recall, reading the record, I don't have it in front of me, but when we specifically asked questions, this is only a 5-year permit anyway, correct?
That's-
So they're gonna have to come back in 4 more years, because this first year's already gone. So in answer to the questions, the applicant basically said, well, we can continue, and if this is the same, you have 5 years, we have 4 more years, and if it's not sufficient, then you can deny our permit and even take away what we have now. That was kind of the discussion when we asked the applicant questions, that their response was like raising the berm or the fence and some other things that they would ameliorate some of the neighbors' concerns, kind of a thing. That's my recollection of the record.
Anything else?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, I think you do have, the options, and the applicant does have the option. They could, if you do vote to deny the request, they could even reapply if they wanted to, and provide additional information that may be helpful for the decision. They could wait for the 5 years and kind of revamp their request. So there are options, but I don't have anything else additional to add, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, well, is there a motion? I hear what Commissioner Daly says, and I also hear what Commissioner Davidson says. If you want to add conditions, we'd have to table it under either circumstances, correct? To present something. So I would suggest that we potentially just table this application, and then maybe you can prepare whatever you think are the modifications that would be appropriate, and you can prepare to reject it, and then we'll make a decision then.
On January 20th, that you said this is the next available date?
No, we can do it on another open business meeting. We couldn't we?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, Commissioner, you could table it to whenever you think would give you adequate time to prepare that information. But yeah, what I'm hearing is you're gonna gather additional information and have more deliberation, make a decision at a future date.
I think that seems to be.
Basically make deliberations, because we have the cases, the record's closed, we just need to
Record's closed.
review it.
We just
what we
review the
have.
information that's already presented. And then if somebody wants to, like Commissioner Davidson said, he was interested in maybe putting an additional condition of approval on, is that what it was?
I think that's worthy of deliberation if we are moving in the direction to allow more vehicles there. If not, then obviously we wouldn't have to talk about another condition. But I think tabling roll this over a little bit more might be helpful.
Okay, give us a date.
I'm gonna go to the 20th.
Is that enough time? That was the real question, is the time?
That'd be for the open business being on the 20th? All right.
I'll move to table the application, number 202400314-CU-M Kirshner Holdings LLC to January 20th, 2026.
I second the motion.
Okay, you've heard the motion. All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Okay, till the 20th.
Okay, now get to the new business. We get to new business of selection of chairman. Apparently our motion a year ago wasn't sufficient for a 2-year term, so we're here again today. Is there any discussion or question?
Well, I guess I made the motion last year, and so I guess my feeling is we need to have transition on the board. It needs to be turned over on a regular basis, different chairmanship, so all of us get that opportunity. But I don't have a problem with the current chairman having another year, if that's the desire of the board. But I do think we need to have a process where that we give everybody the opportunity, not that I want it myself personally, but I think that it needs to be rotated. So I would move to keep the chairman, you keep the chairmanship for another year,
Okay. Is there-
with the understanding that we're gonna have some rotation.
Well, we always have understanding. Is there a motion? Is there a second to that motion?
Do you accept the nomination? I guess that's the,
Yeah, I'll accept the nomination.
all right, I will second that nomination, Mr. Chair.
Okay. All right. Well, you've heard the motion. All in favor? Say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. We don't even have a lawyer in here. Okay, moving on. Okay, we have some catering permits. Any questions on the catering permits? I'll accept a motion.
I move to approve the catering permits and licenses as listed on the agenda and authorize the chair to sign the appropriate documents on behalf of the board.
I'll second that.
Okay, you've heard the motion. All in favor? Say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Okay, next up we have the claims journal. Is there any question or issues on the claims journal? I'll accept the motion.
I'll move to authorize payment of claims on the Claims Journal dated December 31st, 2025.
I second the motion.
Okay, you've heard the motion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, next up we have the assessor's office. We have a couple of people here from the assessor's office. And you're gonna explain why we're pulling 38 and 39 off the agenda.
Yes, sir. Good morning, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners. The two parcels that I'd like to remove from the tax cancellation list are two basically vacant parcels, bare land parcels that were in ag production this past year. They were conveyed to the potential future Valor Classical Academy of Idaho. This is a charter school that will be built at some point in time in the future, but again, this land is currently vacant. And so the conveyance occurred in December of 2025. What we had in our files is that these two parcels were then exempt under 63602A, which is government property. Government property is kind of a unique exemption in the way that it expunges taxes for the entire tax year. Once a government entity owns property, or it has property conveyed to the entity within that year. Any other exemption, we'd remove the tax quantity that would be prorated for the amount of time that the exempt entity owns that parcel. So these two parcels should be exempt if they qualify at some point in the future, once the school is actually constructed under 63602E. And that's an actual and functional use exemption, whereas with government property, as soon as they purchase any property, the taxes are immediately expunged. So we want to make sure that we have the correct exemption placed on those two parcels, so we'd like to remove them today, and we'll do some research on that. If they do in fact qualify under 63602A, we'll have those on the list for next week.
Okay,
Do you have any other questions for that?
any questions from the board?
You know, Mr. Chairman, just as a comment and a thank you, this, I think, for our electorate and property owners in Ada County shows the due diligence that we do, the assessor's office does. We don't just willy-nilly go out and say, you have to pay property tax. They analyze all the details of every property and try to appropriately apply property tax to those that need it and give exemptions to those that deserve it. So I think congratulations to them, and just an explanation to the public that we don't just search out all property and tax it willy-nilly.
Right. Anything else?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I'll accept a motion on the tax cancellations, which are not cancellations, but merely adjustments, but the statutes call them cancellations. So that's what we're gonna do. Any questions or issues? If not, I'll accept the motion.
I move to approve the tax cancellations with the 38 and 39 removed as listed on the agenda, and authorize the chair to sign the appropriate documents on behalf of the board.
Second.
Okay, you've heard the motion. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right.
All right, motion carries. Okay, I inadvertently left the clerk's office out of our discussion, and I'm sorry. So I have unanimous consent that we return to the clerk's office and get a detailed report from the clerk.
So moved.
Yes, I second it.
Mr. Chairman, I hope I don't disappoint you with my undetailed report. We see the horizon for the audit. The audit is almost done. We're looking for the final report from them with some final signatures, and at the appropriate time, that'll be presented to the board here for our last fiscal year. We had a great holidays. We appreciate the board support of our employees over the holidays. They've all seemed to come back with smiles on their faces and ready to go for another calendar year. So appreciate the board support in that. Other than that, there seems to be some sort of election coming up in May, and there will be a lot of work around that, as well as a budget that is probably going to kick off here in the next several weeks for the board to consider. So a lot on our plate, but for now, everyone seems to be happy and healthy, and we're moving along just great.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, go ahead.
Just back to dovetail with what the clerk's saying, this, most people don't realize this that are out there in the hinterlands and the media, et cetera. This is the start of our budget process, so people need to help us be engaged in that budget process as well. It doesn't just happen at the end of the year. We go through a whole process of reviewing our budget, and we need help, the public and our staff and elected officials, to develop that budget. So that's just an alert. Thank you, Trent, the clerk, for letting us all know that. We're gonna be starting a process to make it happen for next fiscal year. It starts in October, but we're starting the process of reviewing it now.
A lot of fun and games ahead of us,
Right.
Which one, fun or the games?
both.
Okay, well, thank you. Anything else from the clerk? Questions for the clerk before we got him on here? Nope. All right, moving on. Next up, we have our treasurer's office, and we're fortunate to have our distinguished treasurer. Go ahead.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman and Commissioners. The Treasurer's Office is busy preparing 2 notices that we'll be mailing in the coming weeks. One is delinquent notices. So this was for property taxes that were due back in December. Idaho law does require a 2% late charge for parcels that were delinquent, and interest is also starting to accrue at 1% per month. So we are generating delinquent notices, so those taxpayers are aware of this obligation that is due. I also want to share that we will be billing the subsequent roll bills for 2025. These are for properties that were reassessed between May and October, typically for new construction or the completion of an improvement. So we will be sending those out in the coming weeks. One thing to note is that legislation last year did change the due date. Partially changed the due date. It made it, these taxes due in a single lump sum payment. So typically for the property roll, the taxes are due in halves. For the subsequent roll that we're billing right now, those will all be due on June 20th. So just wanted to share those updates.
Okay. Any questions for the treasurer?
Just a thank you for
Thank you.
making sure people know all the things that you're doing in terms of all those notices that are going out. A lot of them required by law. You have to do that.
Correct.
Okay, well, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next we have a request from the landfill. Let's see, we have Herb Cantu, our landfill director, on the line. Would you like to fill us in a little bit on the request from Atlanta, Herb?
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners. I would be happy to. For your consideration today, we have a request from Almore County Landfill on behalf of Atlanta, Idaho residents to accept waste from those residents in Atlanta, Idaho for disposal at the Ada County landfill. Looking at the census data, the population in Atlanta, Idaho is roughly 421 residents. My understanding in the request memo is there is a transfer station there, but in regards to receiving bulky items, there are some challenges for the transfer station to accept and process. So it sounds like residents from Atlanta, Idaho are willing to drive into Boise from time to time to get rid of those bulkier items. From a waste volume standpoint, it doesn't appear to be too significant, so I don't have any concerns with accommodating this request. I am available to answer any questions that you may have. Thank you.
Are you able to accommodate the larger items?
And Mr. Chairman, that is correct. We are able to accommodate a couch or a mattress from time to time. That will not be a problem.
Okay. Any other questions from the board? And how long is this, when we authorize a taking waste from another county, how long does that last?
I would recommend we maintain the 6-month approval process just to have continuity, to give us an opportunity to reassess in the future as needed. So I would recommend that we continue with the 6-month approval if that is something your team is willing to do.
Okay, I will accept a motion. Or question, any more questions?
Well, just to read it, another question for her. So this will not, what's the charge, I guess, is my main question.
Excellent question, Commissioner Daly. We would be charging customers the out-of-county disposal rate for these materials, which is currently $40.25 per ton.
And the increased charge relates to our need for our landfill and the cost that it takes, a space outside of what our county is providing.
That is correct. And as we completed our cost of service study last year, and that was one of the items in there was to adjust our base tipping fee from $32 a ton to $33 for county residents. And for out-of-county residents, we would be adjusting that fee to $40.25 per ton.
They're taking space that would be reserved for our own county. And
That is correct. That is correct. Thank you.
Mr. Chair?
Yes, go ahead.
Herb, do you know what Elmore County's long-term plan is to address the needs of their own county residents regarding trash?
From the memo, it's basically stated, because these residents tend to drive into Boise from time to time, it was just more of a convenience for them. It sounds like the Almore County landfill has the ability to take this material. It was more of a convenience for the residents in the city of Atlanta.
Okay. All right, I'll accept the motion.
do we need to put in the time period in there?
Yes, we need to put in the 6 months. That keeps with our policy.
Right. Mr. Chairman, I move that we accept the request from Elmore County from Atlanta, that the residents of Atlanta be able to, for the next 6 months, at the prevailing rate and under certain conditions, that they be allowed to bring their large trash to the Ada County landfill.
Second.
Okay, well, you've heard the motion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you, Herb.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Commissioners.
Okay, next we have 7 agreements. Most of these agreements are pathology agreements for other counties to bring in, use our services. There's a couple of them that are not. Is there any questions on any of the agreements that are in front of us today? Okay, I'll accept the motion.
Mr. Chair, I'll move to approve the agreements as identified on the agenda and authorize the chair to sign the appropriate documents on behalf of the board.
I second the motion.
Okay, you've heard the motion. All in favor, say aye.
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 Motion carries. Next up, we have the approval of the weekly indigent items. Is there any question or discussion on the weekly indigent items? I'll accept the motion.
I move to accept the recommendations of the Indian Services staff as listed on the summary of cases for dated December, dated January 6th, 2026. We are in a new year. And authorize the chair to sign the document on behalf of the board.
Second.
Okay, you've heard the motion. Any questions or issues? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye?
Aye.
Motion carries. Okay, next up, we will recess or adjourn unless is there any other business that needs to be brought before the board? Hearing none, we are adjourned. Thank you. Well, good morning. Today is January the 6th. The time is 9:27. The Board of Commissioners is in session, acting as the Board of Ada County Emergency Medical Services District. All three commissioners are present. We also have with us
John Blake, paramedics.
and Real IT Guy. Madam Clerk, are there any changes to the agenda?
There are not.
Okay, the first item on the business is Claims Journal. I'll accept a motion on the Claims Journal.
I move to approve the EMS Claims Journal dated December 31st, 2025.
Second.
Okay, you've heard the motion. All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Okay, now we have an EMS update. You got 30 minutes.
I'll use all but 29 minutes and 30 seconds.
Okay.
Mr. Chair, Commissioners, I only have one thing for you. That is the requirement to move EMS rules out of IDAPA into state statute started yesterday. That is, on the face of it, it looks like that move will be fairly easy, some easy parts. And I suspect, given the diverse nature of the state, that some of it will take quite a bit of discussion, what is gonna stay and what is gonna go. As you may know, EMS around the state is a nuanced business. There isn't anything that looks like one size fits all. So the movement of rule into statute is, I suspect, gonna take the better part of a year. So that'll be part of what I'm doing as part of this small group, at least in the short term. And my understanding from Representative Tanner is that it will blow up into consideration by a number of people around the state.
Okay. Has that bill been prepared?
No.
In the process?
No, it's just, we just started yesterday, introductory meeting. My guess is that some, if Representative Tanner and Representative Souter run the meeting, some of this may end up being approved through this legislative session, and so whatever could be moved in statute would be moved, and then subsequent bids that will take some more conversation would potentially be at the beginning of next year, during the next legislative session.
Well, I think it's probably a pretty good move because actually the rules are not supposed to go beyond the statutes in any event.
Anyway.
So,
The only, I think the only thing that potentially would stay in rule, only because it could be switched so quickly as the scope of practice, possibly. Again, this is all just introductory, an introductory meeting.
well, I know we had a former head of the Division of Financial Management, and his goal was to be rules-free by 30.
Right.
And because he thought, and I agree with him, he thought that the rules and regulations should really be statutes because they have the same force and effect. And they ought to be approved by the
By his elected body.
Yeah.
Right.
And,
Is it harder to change a rule or a statute?
Statute.
it's statute, way more difficult to change statute. A rule is, they just have to post it and they put it out for a public hearing and then they vote, then they implement it.
I could see it certainly as possible because scope of practice for paramedics, EMTs change so rapidly that might be a place where the statute would point specifically to something in rules so that you could more easily change scope of practice as things change.
I guess that was one back to what Mr. Davis was saying. Some things are more dynamic.
Right, yeah, that,
Than the law, the law could accommodate, and yeah, that's one of them.
right, potentially. Certainly, Representative Tanner, Representative Sauer, anybody else that is interested would certainly have a say in how that goes, obviously.
And Representative Tanner, based on his experience in fire, would understand some of that as well.
I think so. Our discussion yesterday, he is leaving it to many of the people experienced in the state to look at this and make whatever changes are necessary or desired. At any rate, I don't know what that all is going to look like yet, but I'm gonna be spending time doing it.
Okay.
That's all I have for you.
Okay, any other questions? All right, well, thank you.
Yep, thank you.
Okay, we'll be adjourned.